All right. Hi, my English 7th and 8th grade class. This is a quick video on recognizing sentences and fragments. So let's go ahead and move on to my interactive aid. This should all be on page 57. I'm going to read through the two notes at the top, and then we'll go through some examples. And of course, then you guys have the exercise on page 57 as well. So sentences, fragments, and run-ons. I'll talk about all three here. Are we though? I think I'm just going to go through the fragments. We'll see. Okay, so sentences and fragments. So since a sentence is a group of words that expresses a complete thought, it always has a subject and a predicate. And sometimes that predicate involves more of a complex predicate. Sometimes it just takes the verb, which is a simple predicate. So our example here is, a hopeful spirit will discern the silver lining of the darkest cloud. So we have our verb, phrase, will discern, and then our subject is a spirit. So we have a full thought here. Another example, Mallory baked 4 cakes yesterday. So you can see clearly that you have the action here, baked, who baked, Mallory baked. And if you remember from our lesson on complements, Mary baked what? She baked 4 cakes. Although in this case, that's not entirely necessary to complete the thought. It does give you a better picture of what's going on here. All right, so last example, Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. So you have your verb is, form of to be, so we have our linking verb, and who is, Jesus is. Okay. Now, a fragment is a separated sentence part that does not express a complete thought. So some examples here. When all other things fail us, and you're left, and you always know it's a fragment, because when you read it out loud, you're left with like, and, you're waiting for more information. And also it can be tricky because in this case, when all other things fail us, you see a verb here. When you see things, all things, other things fail us. But when you have this when in front, you'll learn about this later. But this actually makes this a dependent clause. So we'll get into that later. But in this case, you do have no complete thought, even though you do have a subject and verb. So when in doubt, say it out loud, even if you're whispering it under your breath. It'll make it easier to be able to determine whether something is a fragment or a full sentence. Although Mallory prefers brownies, okay, like what? So it's because of this although. You're starting with these connecting words that even though you have a subject and verb, there's obviously more that you're waiting for to have a complete thought. There's something, this is conditional on something. Lighting the Christmas tree. No complete thought whatsoever. Okay. So the easiest way to correct a fragment is to rejoin it to the sentence from which it has been separated. So let's look at some examples here. The preacher spoke. This is a complete thought. You have your subject and verb. But then let's look at about understanding God's grace. Well, in this case, you're waiting for the condition. So you would combine this by taking your sentence and combining it with your fragment. So you can say, the preacher spoke about understanding God's grace. All right, when he exercises daily, as you can see, you're waiting for more. Matthew increases his endurance. Now you have a full sentence here, Matthew increases his endurance, but this here is a fragment. Also, it starts with that word when, so you know it's conditional on something. So you would write this out as, when he exercises daily, Matthew increases his endurance. Or you can say that Matthew increases his endurance when he exercises daily. Either way works perfectly fine. Okay, after she cleaned the kitchen, you always want to have like a ... after that. Like obviously we don't have a complete thought. Ivy went for a walk. that's a complete sentence. So you could combine these by saying, after she cleaned the kitchen, Ivy went for a walk. Or you could say, Ivy went for a walk after she cleaned the kitchen. Either way works perfectly fine. Okay, and then we'll get into run-ons later. I want to see. Nope, that's pretty much all the examples we have. This isn't super complicated, so hopefully nobody's having too many troubles with this. Although I will say that from some of the written exercises like book reports and paragraphs, I have seen fragments in y'all's composition works. So do make the effort to read your sentences out loud because that will help you find these incomplete thoughts and reword your sentences so that you don't have any fragments. Hopefully, we'll be able to talk about run-ons in class together, but if not, then I'll have another video on those. I'm going to make a video to help refresh you guys on the book report assignment, so keep an eye out for that to come across as well. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.